Hello, Internet. My name is Roro, and welcome to my channel. I hope everyone's having a good day. Today, I wanted to do something a little different. This is just like a fun idea that I've had in the past, I've thought about, and I think it's a good analogy. Obviously, it's just like a fun thought. This isn't really rooted in anything factual. This is just something that I've thought of and thought was interesting, and it's this idea that life is a carnival. Now, I don't know how that comes off the bat, but let's get into this. I'll explain. So, when you're a kid and you drive past a carnival or a state fair or something along those lines, like I'm talking like young. Maybe you see the lights, maybe you see like the different booths, you see the congregation of people, but you're really young, you kind of just see it. You don't know exactly what it is. Maybe if you were to go there, you would have fun and you would enjoy yourself, but from a distance, you're kind of looking at it. Maybe it looks interesting, but you really don't know that much about it. And maybe it doesn't look interesting, maybe you're not that concerned with it. And it's just another thing. You're in your own world doing your own thing. Like you have the things you enjoy. So maybe it doesn't even sound that appealing. I think this is a good analogy for when you're young and maybe you hear people in your life talking about jobs or careers or different interests that they're taking seriously outside of hobbies and passions or whatever. When you're a kid, you have the knowledge that you're not at that point in your life yet. So you don't really have to worry about it. You don't really have to worry about a job or a career when you're really young. You're just doing whatever you're doing as a kid with your kid friends, like just enjoying kid things in your life. So the idea of a job and a career, it's just something that's in the distance that you're not really thinking about or taking seriously or even really considering or concerning yourself with. And I think most kids are smart enough to know that consciously. So then you get a little older and then you actually start to like make plans to go to the carnival. And you're like, okay, like we're going to go to this carnival. Maybe you're in the car ride to the carnival. Everyone's saying how great it is, how exciting it is to go. Everyone has this perceived freedom that they're going to have once they're at the carnival. And, maybe it starts to sound enticing. Maybe you do want to go to the carnival. I think this is a good analogy for the time in your life where, maybe you're not in college yet or college age where you're like technically an adult and you have to like make all these decisions and start to think about what you're going to do with your life and what you want to do with your life, even what you want to pursue. But maybe you start to have some ideas, and especially when you're like a teenager, life can feel kind of constraining because you're kind of in this like weird in-between place where you're not a kid, you're not an adult. So maybe like being an adult, having your own freedom and stuff like that, maybe that starts to sound enticing, and that's kind of like being on your way to the carnival. So then you're getting closer and closer, and you're not really thinking about it, but once you get to the carnival, you don't just go right to the carnival, You're not just there and then you're in. Like there's a big parking lot, you got to find parking, Maybe it's like a dirt parking lot or like rocks, so it's kind of like rough, you got to figure it out. You got to walk pretty far across the parking lot to get to the entrance. There's like a line to get in, stuff like that, You need to get like a wristband or a ticket or like your hand stamped before you can go in. There's a lot of things you got to do before you can actually enter the carnival. And all that to me pretty much represents all of the things you have to do before you can really start pursuing your dreams. Maybe you need to like save a little bit of money so you can get your own place, or you need to go to college and get a degree in order to get your dream job. Stuff like that. Or even like start at a lower level position in the field that you want to, get into, to work your way up and pursue what you really want to pursue. Those things take time. And I think maybe sometimes people don't realize how long it can take and how much work it really takes. So they kind of, once they start, they're like, how am I not here yet kind of feeling. And eventually time passes and you finally get into the carnival. And, you got your wristband or your hand stamp or whatever, and there is some sort of entry fee just to get into the carnival. So once you're in, you're very excited, but you don't necessarily have the tokens or the tickets to go on rides or play games, or you don't have any like extra money to have cotton candy or get popcorn or something like that, So you're kind of just at the carnival, walking around the carnival, just kind of observing everything, even though you're in the carnival. And this is kind of like when you're working, maybe you have your own place, you're out of school, you're just kind of living your life, but you're still in the very beginning of that part of your life. And you don't really have the money to do extra stuff or get nice things or really like invest in yourself to get to a new place in your life. You're just at the very beginning, just getting by, doing what you can, keeping your head down, but also kind of like, man, I wonder what's next for me. And then maybe eventually you're like, all right, I can get some cotton candy. So I'm going to get some cotton candy, maybe some other like a soda or something. You're kind of getting tired of walking around. It's getting later. It's getting like a little darker. Maybe the cotton candy you had is starting to give you like a stomach ache because you're just like outside walking around, not a lot of sustenance. And maybe that's sort of like in the beginning when you first start to really get burnt out from working and just being, for lack of a better word or phrase, just being a person every day and having to live life every day and just kind of be on that grind, just be in that mentality of just like working and pursuing what you're pursuing, whether you are enjoying it or not, it takes energy out of you. So you kind of start to get a little burnt out. You get a little tired. Maybe you start to question like why you even came to the carnival in the first place, quote unquote. Sort of like, is this even worth it what I'm doing? Is it even worth it for me to be doing this and spending my time doing this? Like, should I even be pursuing this? Should I even be working this job? That's sort of like that time. And then eventually you're like, all right, I could go on the rides now, but do I even really want to go on these rides? Is it even worth it? Do I even want to be here anymore? Am I too old to be at a carnival? Why am I even really doing this? But maybe like a friend sort of coaxes you to come on the ride. Let's just say we'll call it like, you guys know that ride that spins around and you kind of get stuck to the wall. Let's say that's the ride we're going to go on. So your friend's kind of like, come on, man, let's just go on the ride. We're here. We might as well just go on and enjoy it, And I think this is a good analogy for the need to have some sort of vice or something to kind of get you through your life because it's like a reaction to the work, Maybe you wouldn't feel the need to do something like that, like spend your money or, like I said, some sort of vice, whatever that means to you. Maybe you wouldn't feel that urge as strongly if you weren't at this job and it wasn't like draining you of your energy, So then you're waiting in line for the spinny ride. You're a little nervous, but you're also a little excited. It seems like fun, but also it's uneasy, unsettling. And maybe you even feel kind of like pressured to go on the ride a little bit. And I think that also coincides with what I was saying, where people feel the need to rebel against their job in some way or have some sort of antithesis to their work, especially if their work is like super stressful, which most people, their work is super stressful. So they need to have some sort of release. But also part of them is like, well, maybe I shouldn't do this because it's going to make work harder for me tomorrow, or, it's going to make my life harder if I do this, but there has to be some sort of give and take. And I think that's sort of the point I'm trying to make here, is people feel that need to take from one place, give to another place in order to balance out their life in some way. And then soon enough, the entrance rope is lifted and you actually are getting on the ride and you're like, oh shit, this is getting real. And you find your spot on the ride and then the ride turns on and you're stuck to the wall and you're spinning real fast and you're like, oh my God, this is crazy. I did not know it was going to be like this. Or maybe you're like, this is really fun and I do like this. And that's sort of like the moment that I think a lot of people come to where they have to make a decision. It's not actually, it's not even a decision. It's just something that they feel inside where they're like, I don't think I'm doing the right thing. I don't think I should be on this ride. Or they're like, this is really fun. I love this, which is like, this is where I'm meant to be. This is what I'm meant to be pursuing. And then you get off the ride, and whether you liked it or not, you're probably going to hobble around a little bit. You're going to be a little dizzy. You're going to be a little woozy and kind of be thrown off for a little bit. And you basically decide whether you want to stay at the carnival or not. I don't know. I'm not at the end of my life, so there's a lot of steps that I'm missing for sure in life. And like I said, this is not based in any sort of factual anything. This is just a silly idea that I thought of that I thought would be interesting to share because, as I've said, the point of this channel, it's really just me sifting through ideas and thoughts that I have. And, a lot of the times I do have things that I feel like I need to work through that are a little bit more serious or affect my life in a little bit more serious of a way. But I don't want to limit myself to any sort of thing that I'm talking about. So I just thought this would be fun. Just kind of throw it out there. Let me know what you guys think. Maybe there's parts of the analogy that I can elaborate on or that I missed or that I didn't think of or how it could extend in the future. Hopefully you guys understood what I was trying to say. I honestly have no idea how it's going to come across, but we'll see. Either way, I put out a new video every Sunday, so be sure to check it out if you like it. I have other videos on this channel. Go ahead and check those out if you're interested, and I'll see you guys next week.